All right, advice. My name's Kyle, Ava, Rayshawn. We've got to talk about true crime, which is good because I think that'll be good for the algorithm. Why are so many middle-aged white women into true crime? I have my theories about this, but I don't want to taint y'all's takes. So, who wants to start on why white women love true crime? Oh, wait, middle-aged specifically in the post.
Well, I'm sorry. I cannot put myself in the mindset of a middle-aged white woman. So I'm gonna just tell you why sometimes it gets my attention. Because sometimes the storylines and the way they like go about telling the story in the videos, like I can't think exactly which one with the guy that used to do the catch a predator
Oh, Chris
videos.
Hansen. Oh, yeah.
He used to do like the true crime videos too, right? If
No,
I'm
I
thinking
think you're
correct.
thinking. I don't think that was him. I think you're thinking of the other guy who Bill Hader does an amazing impression of, whose name I can't
Oh,
think of right now.
the
He's got like,
Dateline guy?
yeah, he's got the huge
Oh,
forehead
maybe
and
it
the
is the
white hair, and
okay.
he's like, seemed like a real shit, man. I just drop in a Bill Hader clip right now of him impersonating this guy.
I love Dateline. Do you guys watch Dateline? It's my favorite show. It's the only I love true crime shows. Keith Morrison has that real folksy kind of way of talking. He's like, you saw your father shot in the face. I don't know. Well, that must have been a while.
Bill Hader, one of my favorite impressionists of all time. That guy,
awesome.
him doing that guy, and also him doing Al Pacino.
I did stand up for a little bit in LA, and I used to do it, and it was Al Pacino giving a speech to a film crew on the first day before the first shot.
To sort of inspire them.
Inspire them,
yeah.
and he was like, I love film. I love women. I love wine. I love kangaroos. Hey, why not?
Some of the best stuff ever from Bill Hader. Completely criminally underrated. I'm sorry, Ray. What about Dateline and that guy?
I'm just saying, this sometimes how they set up the videos, and you just be like listening to them, and then you just begin. It's like you're interested, but then you like, okay. The only time I get like scared is when you get to the end of the video and it's like, oh, we still haven't caught him, and then you're like, hold up, like wherever, yeah, like where the fuck is? Am I in a situation where this person can get me? Like, but sometimes the stories be interesting, and then you think, but then sometimes it lets you know how crazy the world is, low key, because these are real, true crimes. Like, you be thinking like, oh, this cookie cutter world. No, some of these people are dangerous out here. But I also like the fact that you get to see how like they break down the crimes and figure out how they got the person. Like, oh, it was this that tipped us off to this, and that's how we figured that out. Then it shows you like, well, if you ever got in these situations, don't make these mistakes. So you get like it's a hit or horror from each side. So,
oh my God, Ray! All the jokes I wanted to make, you just made along the way in that rant. I was like, oh, why? So you can know what mistakes not to make when you commit crimes, Rayshawn. And sure enough, you got there all by your fucking self. So beautiful. It just totally threw me off. I had another comment, but yeah, no, Dateline, I think is a little bit. Oh, you know what it was? I remember. The way that you just described how you felt about Dateline, especially when it gets to the end of an episode, I used to feel that way about Unsolved Mysteries in the 90s when I was very small, like 5, 6 years old, watched that shit on the Lifetime channel. And they'd be like, if you have any updates on where this fugitive may be, make sure to contact your local FBI affiliate, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, that shit, that guy, he's out there. Like the world just felt so permanently unsafe because these things would just rerun all the time. And I'm like, they still haven't caught that motherfucker. What am I going to do? I'm 6. I can't buy a gun. Just stay inside for the rest of my life and never develop any anxiety issues about it at all. Shit. Did I just crack a nut, crack a crime? Yep, crack my skull open. What's
funny about that though is like they always be like binge worthy. So like you get one episode, there always be another episode after it. You be sitting back thinking your whole neighborhood might be killers. You like, you know what? I don't know. I keep my eyes out on everybody right now.
They have all of
But
those
they
old
are
Unsolved
pretty
Mysteries
good.
on one of the streaming services, and now if you go back and watch them, it's just really funny to watch them do all the recreations of the crime scenes that they're talking about. Like, because sometimes it's like this person got murdered or this person was sexually assaulted. Other times it's like, and this person swore they saw a ghost on the apparition that
No, I don't watch those
like.
ones. That's
Like you see the level of quality in the stories like start to devolve as the seasons go on. So like now if you go rewatch those old terrible reruns, which I occasionally will do, it's just so much fucking funnier. It's so funny. And I'm not a scared little kid anymore, so that's also a good thing.
Did you? It was one that was on Netflix that was really popular like last year. I think it had something to do with like Chris Waltz or something.
Crip Walks.
Chris Waltz, like Chris and then Waltz. I can't think
Christoph
what
Waltz.
it was. A whole
Inglourious Basterds?
situation where dude killed his wife and kids and lied about it. Went on TV and did press conferences and everything, and they figured out he ended up killing them at the end. And it was like a whole thing. But I was like, that was pretty good. It surprised me, like when I'd be able to watch those whole things and be like, that could be my neighbor right now. Like that's how I always think. It'd be like, because you never know what these people next to you doing. You just know what you're doing.
It's important that it's like a pretty captivating story, but it's also important how it's told. Like,
yeah, that's the main thing. You gotta be able to tell the story good and kind of leave out certain facts, keep people guessing. Tell a story in your way.
I can't believe how bad the Unsolved Mysteries theme song is stuck in my head right now. This is a problem. So Rayshawn gave his perspective as somebody who just likes true crime. Ava, you are a woman, not a middle-aged one, but why do you think middle-aged white women love true crime so much?
Well, probably because it's like riding a roller coaster where you like feel like you're gonna die, but you know you're not. So it's like scary, but it's fun. But also probably if they're women, that's like tends to be the victim. So they're like, I'm gonna learn how to not get got by one of these guys who's like
True.
out murdering women and stuff. I'm gonna keep an eye out. And I think people are just like scared for no reason of like the people around them. So they're like, it's gonna be one of you. I'm gonna find you.
They develop a healthy paranoia of
Right.
everyone in their life around them.
Middle-aged white women tend to be the targets in a lot of these true crime videos. So I can understand that, learning for tips, signs. Be like, if my husband starts coming home at 3:00 in the morning, I need to get a gun. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you gotta learn the signs.
So I think those are all valid pieces of insight, especially the part about like the women wanting to pick up tips as how to not get murdered. But I was thinking about this post earlier today, and the closest, because like, whatever, true crime, I have a couple of YouTubers that I think do a really good job in telling the story, like true crime sort of stories in their own very like casual conversational kind of style, and I enjoy their content. Put it on in the background as you're working on something, whatever. I don't fuck with true crime super often. I don't fuck with true crime podcasts at all. Every time I mention to somebody that I work on podcasts, they're like, "Oh my god, is it like? Do you work on Last House on the Left or whatever whatever popular fucking horror podcasts, true crime podcasts, whatever it is?" No, I don't. I give no shits about it, and I hate that that's your only point of reference for podcasting. However, I thought about it like this. I think women. This is going to sound awful. I think women kind of project themselves onto the victim. Like you said, often at times it's women, and I think sometimes they put themselves in the shoes of this victim, right? And they can do that as a way to, one, learn things to avoid getting murdered, which is obviously the better outcome than the other one I'm about to suggest. It's also like, oh my god, she got murdered, and her family was so sad and they missed her so much, and everyone talked about how great of a person she was for the rest of her fucking existence, or like her existence is obviously not going on anymore because she's dead. But I think women maybe sometimes look at it from that perspective of like, what would people say about me if I were the victim of a terrible fucking crime by some psychopath? Not only would I be linked to like interesting is probably like a really terrible word for it, but like but not only would I be remembered for an out of the normal, all right, we'll say it like that, murder case, but people would have to revere me in fucking death for the rest of time. Like, I think people get that. And the only thing that I could liken that to in terms of a dude, right? And I don't know if this is, I feel like this is true for maybe everybody, regardless of gender. I don't know. I bet you it is. Hero fantasy for dudes. We live in America. We've talked about mass shootings on the show before, obviously. The last time we talked about them, I think it was because of the songs that we would pick for our playlists, and Pumped Up Kicks obviously would be on that. I think was the one that came out most recently about. Anyway, you ever had like the reverse mass shooting fantasy where you're not picking out your fucking iPod shuffle list for it? You're like, I would stop the shooter. I would run in there and I'd sneak up behind him like a fucking ninja, like I'm Snake Plissken from fucking Metal Gear Solid, and I'd snap his fucking neck. Like, I think hero fantasy can also kind of play into why people get so obsessed about school shootings. They like put themselves in the shoes of people who were there. They're a million miles away from it. They're super removed from it. But the only thing that they can do to relate, exactly. If I was there, that shit wouldn't happen at all. Like, I'm not going to get political about Marjorie Taylor Greene saying she would have led the insurrection better, but same sort of idea. Like, people think that if they're there and they put themselves in that situation mentally, they would have been the person to solve everything. They have all the answers. And I think it's kind of like a relative of that idea, like the hero fucking fantasy that some people have. I think some people also have like a I want people to mourn me fantasy. And I think that's why not just women, I think a lot of people, generally speaking, connect to true crime kind of stuff. It's interesting, it's grotesque, it's fucking horror, it's scary, it's relatable in that it could happen to anybody. It happens to normal people. This isn't like set in the realm of science fiction, fantasy, whatever the fuck. But I think that's really what it is. People like to project themselves into those situations, and they get addicted to like playing out those scenarios in their heads. Christ, long way to get there.
Interesting way to go. The whole hero complex, I can understand that. I've hit myself in situations like that. And
hero complex, victim complex. Maybe victim complex isn't the right way to say it, but victim complex implies something different. You know, hero fantasy, victim fantasy.
Be the victim in certain situations. Like, the victims always get the sympathy. They always are looked at as like, damn, I can't believe that happened to you. You know what I mean? But you know, sometimes you gotta realize shit happened to everybody. B.
People die every day, B.
Every day.
One of the greatest Rayshawn quotes of all time. Damn. I'm sorry that happened, but people die every day, B.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. Like, it's hard to say, like, to feel so much pain about your situation where it's like, you know, somebody else is like, ugh. I think that's why you can't ever just take what you're going through and just keep it. Because if you ever try to compare what you're going through, it's just gonna always be like, well, you know, well, to you it feels like that, but to me, that's what it's gonna have to like.
I think you just tack something very interesting onto the end of this conversation, is the idea that people like the idea of dying, like some kind of crazy circumstance, or like in a blaze of glory in a school shooting. Like, people like the idea that I can get rid of this whenever I want. You know, I don't know. Maybe that was a little bit morbid, but who knows? I don't. I'll know in the edit if I have to cut that or not.
Don't be
don't be how dare you? How fucking dare you? So what do you think? Why do so many middle-aged white ladies like true crime? Also, why do we always fantasize about being a hero in shootings? And is it related at all? I don't know. I think it is, because I smoked a bunch of weed earlier. Let us know down in the comment section, and we'll see you tomorrow for more advice.
And
what?
Don't be a butt cheek.
Why'd you yell "and" like that? It scared the shit out of me.
I like to do something different, you know.
You like
on their toes.
It's just me, man. Oh, Abe's here too. My bad.
Hey.